So this is a beaver dam. On my property, I have one beaver dam. Usually, if I have more than that, it can become a problem. I have to maintain culverts, a roadway. Although I do like the beaver, they do have to be managed from time to time. I've had to learn the balance, which is basically taking out a few every 3 years. There could be as many as 15 beaver living in the lodge. It's called a colony of beaver. They have 3 to 5 young every spring. Those are called kits or kittens. And if you're a girl, you get to stay there as long as you want. Boys get about 3 years to learn how to become a beaver, then they have to hit the road. They don't build dams right away. Young bachelor beavers will spread out, go downstream, find some territory, try and find something that looks suitable for habitat, and then they'll build their dam eventually, hoping to find a female that will help them in the area. Then they build the big house, build the lodge. Beaver are the second largest rodent in the world. They're second only to capybara of South America. They can top out at around 60 pounds. Beaver are second to humans for architectural ability. They can build massive dams and hold back entire rivers. You can actually see some beaver dams from space. That's how big they are. And they basically build a dam because their food floats. They eat just beneath the bark of the tree. They scrape the bark off with their teeth, and they scrape off the cambium layer. It's called living wood. That's the cellulose they get out of the tree. That's what gives them nutrients. So primarily their diet is the inner layer of bark. And to get to that, they'll either chop trees down straight out, or they do what's called girdling, which is removing the bark from the base of the tree, which will eventually kill it, and then eventually the wind will blow it over, where they'll revisit that tree, dismantle it, get it to the water where it floats, and then they can bring it to the safety of the lodge to eat it, use it to build their house or the dams. So what I'm doing today, and what I've done today, as you'll see in the video, is I've had to take out a series of dams because I've had basically an explosion in the beaver population in the last 3 years. There's plenty for them to eat here. So here we have the problem. So if they continue to build, anything gets clogged up in this, eventually it will go up and over my road, causing a lot of damage. So I want to go ahead and take care of this. Well, I don't want to, but I'm going to take care of this today and see if we can keep this thing open. Piece of cake. Let's go see the after. The after is my arms are about 6 inches longer than they were when I started. Whew. Much better. There's a few sticks there at the end, but it'll wash out during the next rainstorm because there's no big pile of mud holding it in. Whew. All right, time for a shower. And as I say, I do like to see them. They can come out often and will actually come right up to me here. But that being said, I do have to keep their numbers in check because if not, as I mentioned, they'll destroy a roadway. It'll be a $25,000 to $30,000 fix if that washes away. In order to do that, I usually try and take out the alpha male, sometimes the female, and then it's just enough for the other ones to keep up with the main dam that they don't feel like they need to go build further downstream. To do that, I'll actually use a conibear, which is basically a metal trap. You can use a snare, you can shoot them. They are illegal to relocate. You cannot move them from your property and put them somewhere else because then they become a problem for somebody else. So they have to be eradicated when they become an issue. A lot of people don't know it, but beaver were a huge part of what built this country. It was the fur trade, and the beaver pelt, as I mentioned, were a huge part of that. And partially Benjamin Franklin's doing. He was my favorite founding father, but he, along with John Adams, decided they were going to go to France. He was the ambassador to France, the first ambassador to France. So when he went with John Adams, John wore a nice suit and tie. Ben decided he was going to mix things up a little bit, wear mountaineer's clothes and a beaverskin hat. And it was that beaverskin hat, the ladies over there fell in love with Ben's beaverskin hat, and they wanted their men to have beaverskin hats from America too. So the bounty was out on the beaver. If you managed the pelt and the gland, called a castor gland, that was the main ingredient in ladies' perfumes at the time, and that nearly wiped out the beaver east of the Mississippi. But that was what got America going west. It was the fur trade, and literally wars were fought over it. John Jacob Astor, he was the richest man in America. His wealth came from it. The castor also is an ingredient that you cook with sometimes. There's a vanilla extract that can be gained from the castor. So many uses, even in the Native American communities, beaver teeth were used for scissors. That's how they cut hair. And those could be resharpened. They could attach those to sticks and use them for carving. And they could be resharpened time and time again. Beaver had many different purposes for many different people at the time. Beaver were a very valuable commodity shipped all over the world from the United States. Around the 1850s, the silk trade boomed, and it was the silk hat everybody wanted at that time, the new fad. Beaver got a reprieve. They were also reintroduced about the same time frame along the eastern seaboard, and they have done very well. I can attest, if you spend any time out at our local ponds, lakes, rivers, you will see them. They come out early in the morning or late in the day. They are nocturnal primarily. They'll be out foraging all night and then in the morning going into sleep, all to elude predators. They don't have a lot of predators because when they get some size on them, they're pretty formidable. And it would be a larger animal like a coyote or a bobcat, possibly a bald eagle, that would predate on a young beaver. But once they get big, it'd be like tangling with Tasmanian devil and a blender. They're pretty fast for their size and unpredictable. I've had to learn to exist with these things, and I enjoy watching them, so I don't want them gone. But like I said, I do have to manage them. I really like what they do for the property. They make these huge impoundments, and in fact, fish can come here now. We have a variety of ducks, wood ducks, mallards, all your puddle ducks come here, geese, along with many other animals taking advantage of this spot. There's a bald eagle nest in the back of the pond, and that's because now there's fish here that wouldn't have been here otherwise. So beaver do provide a pretty valuable function for the land, and I enjoy having them here. I have a couple of ways that I've managed them over the years. One is tearing down one dam and then putting traps around that area, so when they come back to repair that dam, which they will do quickly, you'll get them. Another way is to take care of them before you tear out the dams, because if you don't get them, they will rebuild that dam almost instantly. It'll be a night or two and it'll be back up. They're amazing builders, and you'll have the same problem time and time again. This time I've already dispatched them, so the two main ones that were causing the problems, and I think the balance is all right now. We'll see. The next couple days will tell the tale, but I removed those dams as you saw in the videos today. Those dams are very well constructed. So as you'll see in this video, I have to go to the back side of the dam. I'm pulling the sticks out. Basically, they start with these sticks and they wedge them in the ground facing the flow of water. So they'll put several of these sticks in place and then they'll start putting material in underneath there. So it'll be mud or rocks, whatever's on the river bottom. Then they'll go harvest stuff like vines, pricker bushes here, and all kind of sticks, and that will eventually get caught up in those sticks. It makes a very solid dam, very hard to remove, as you see. It took me quite a while to take this dam down, and also the two dams in the culvert. So it's a nightmare when they build that many. I've really let it get away from me this year. Normally I'll manage them every year, but I had several things jump in the way this year, one of which was the sap production, which you may have seen that video. If not, you can check it out. And on that note, I also am making the birch sap that I mentioned in that video. I have a lot of birch trees, paper birch, and the ratio to that is 110 to 120 gallons for 1 gallon. So it's not as productive as the black walnut and the maple, but I'm supposed to have a really unique flavor and pretty cool to cook with, so I'm definitely going to be testing that out, and I will make a video of that. I've never tried it before, so you'll see the live taste test. And a lot of people were curious, because I am mostly carnivore, why am I making syrup? Probably for the same reason that Daniel Boone and Rebecca did it. I mentioned them. They always made that. It was a tradition with them. Even into their later years, they would always make the maple and black walnut syrups and sugars, and they would give those away as gifts. I'm sure they enjoyed them as well, and I will enjoy a bit of it too. In fact, I have some ways I can use it, incorporate it into some of the foods that I eat, but I would give a lot of that stuff away because I don't eat that much. But fun to make it, and the reason I got into it is because I love history, especially American history, which is one of the reasons that I like to do stuff like this myself if I can. And to do that, I wanted to do it more traditionally. I wanted to not only remove them, but I also wanted to skin them, tan the hides, hoop them out. I wanted to do what the trappers did. And it's been very interesting to do that. It's a pretty detailed process, and I have a small video that I did a couple of years ago that you'll see here. collected many hides over the years. But people use them for many different things. You can make quilts, blankets, things like that. But I figured if I'm going to take them, I might as well utilize them for something. I haven't tried cutting my hair with their teeth yet, but you never know. And then the syrups, the same thing. I wanted to try, I had no clue you could actually do that in central North Carolina. It's not only doable, it's abundant, and you know, like I said, if you have the time and effort to put into it, really cool to check that stuff out.